Hi, this is Tom from Nightingale Games, and I'm giving a demo of War Room by Larry Harris, now on Kickstarter until December 8th. And this is going to be the battle in the Baltic, giving an example of combat, naval combat in particular. So we have the Germans coming in with a few cruisers and some subs and some air support. Then we have the British and the Russians coming in as well with some air support and a carrier fighter. So now they'll need to choose their stances. Keep in mind these are just prototype pieces. These are slightly larger than what we'll actually ship. And so we're just assigning units to the different stances that are possible, which affect the number of dice that are rolled, and in some cases the amount of damage they take. Over here we have two nations participating in the same combat, so they need to choose a commander. They'll choose the British since they have the larger force. If they couldn't decide, it would be determined by turn order. And now we're just we'll keep this in columns so that we can tell which unit belongs to which. They're going to go air heavy, so you can see the number of dice here is 2 versus 1 for the battleship, and a similar choice for each of these units. The cruisers have a special stance called escort, which allows them to take hits of capital ships, and you'll see how that works during combat. And so the Germans went first, so they must finalize their stances first. There they have a choice to make if they want to focus on air or focus on the surface units. They're going to split their focus, but mostly go towards the surface. Now that stances are set, we're going to determine the number of dice rolled for the air stage, which happens before the surface stage. So we'll count up the air. Subs can't fire against the air, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 3 is 8, 9. So they're rolling 9 dice. And then over on the Allied side, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 3 is 12. So they're rolling 12 dice against the Germans. And we'll go ahead and start. So just a batch of 9 for the Germans. They're first in turn order, so they roll first. And normally we'll be going by color sequence, but we're only aiming at the air, so only red and green, black and white hits apply. So we have 2 green hits. So they could assign both to 1 or split them since they're in separate rows. Normally you need to kill off a unit in the same row before damaging another. So they will do that. They will... No, they're going to kill off this guy here. And that's it for them. They have no reds, so everything else is a miss. So now it's the Allied firing at the Germans with 10, 12 dice towards these guys. And they rolled 3 green hits. So they could go 1, 2, and then 3. Or they could damage one of these as well. So that's what they'll do. 1, 2, 3. And then they also got a black roll. So they could either, black is wild, so they could choose to damage this or kill off this fighter. They'll choose to kill off this fighter. And then they have 2 more dice. One more hit, so this is now wounded or damaged. So that's it for the air stage. We'll be moving on to the surface stage now, and we'll clear these. And they can't change stances. You choose that at the beginning of the battle. So now we're counting up the numbers of dice to roll, the combat strength according to these numbers. So we have 3 subs times 2 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 3 is 14, plus another 3 is 17. So they have 17 dice to roll for the ground, or not ground, surface portion of the combat, and the British, let's count up their dice. So we have 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, except these both have unopposing units. So they get a feature called Force Advantage, which gives them a bonus and raises this number by 1. So per unit, they get 1 more die to roll. So let's recount. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 4 is 12, and 13. So they'll be rolling 13 dice. Since eliminated fighters don't participate, but wounded units do. So let me just double check that. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, plus 4 is 12, 13. Yes, that looks correct. So the Germans are now rolling for the surface portion with their first batch. And we have 2 yellow hits, so 1, 2, the sub is destroyed, and the roller always decides, assigns damage, so they could choose the Russians or the British here. They'll choose the British and go 1, 2, and then it looks like there's a 1 green hit, 1 green hit, and then 2 red hits. So they'll choose 1, and the Russians will choose, the commander actually will choose to engage the escort ability and absorb the 2nd red hit assigned to the battleship there. So instead of this going down 1 more, the cruiser takes the hit. And then there's no black dice, which would be wild, but there's 2 white dice. And the only one that could be hit here is this blue one. So that's eliminated. And then they roll another batch of 7. And it looks like the yellows are misses, the blues are misses, and the whites are misses. So they did not roll any more hits. That's it for the Germans. And now the British are rolling 13 dice against the Germans. First batch is a whole lot of yellow, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If this had been here, it would have been able to escape and therefore not be struck with the next batch rolled. We have 1 blue, so they will choose to eliminate, strike that one. And the reds and greens are misses, which is why we have Force Advantage. And 2 black wilds, so they will choose 1 and then eliminate another one here. And then they have 3 more dice to hit. A blue and a black. So they will choose the blue and the black, which is sort of irrelevant, but it will escape. And that's it for this combat. Looks like the Germans took heavy losses. They will need to pay 1 resource to repair, any single resource to repair per unit damaged in the white zone. If, let's say, this was here, it would also have to pay 1 resource, or if it was in a region with a friendly port, then it would automatically repair. Again, if they're in this spot, it doesn't need to pay for repair. So these units will go to the casualty list and cause stress in the next morale phase, and otherwise these units would return to the board. These moot commands will return to supply. Looks like the Germans only escaped with some air. and the British managed to keep their capital ships. All right, that's it for now. We'll be uploading more videos in the coming weeks. Thanks.